The Philadelphia 76ers continue to be the most diligent NBA team in pursuing LeBron in free agency. NBA sources are reporting that the Sixers' best players, Tyrese Maxey, Jaylen Brown, and Joel Embiid, have had direct conversations with LeBron. All three have a connection to the 41-year-old future Hall of Famer. Maxey has worked out with LeBron in previous off seasons and calls LeBron a big brother. LeBron spoke up for Brown in February when Brown was with Boston. LeBron said Brown should have been a top MVP candidate. LeBron and Embiid won a gold medal together when they played for Team USA in the 2024 Summer Olympics in Paris. If Golden State, Cleveland, and Miami are still in the running for LeBron, they better step up their game. The Philadelphia 76ers are not playing. Even Sixers owner Bob Myers has made a pitch to LeBron. No timetable yet from LeBron on making a decision. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Let me put my hard hat on, go back outside, and see if these procrastination Crenshaw construction crew. Well, you already know. Destination Crenshaw, your time is up. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. KBLA Talk 1580 and Bethesda Temple Church invite residents, churches, businesses, and community leaders along the Crenshaw corridor to join a vitally important community conversation Thursday, July 30th, 6:30 p.m. at Bethesda Temple Church, 4909 Crenshaw Boulevard. For years now, this community has been living with unkept promises and the devastating effects of the unfinished Destination Crenshaw construction project, leaving residents, businesses, and churches to deal with myriad problems, including the loss of parking, restricted access, traffic congestion, and the lack of emergency vehicle access when it matters most. For years now, Procrastination Crenshaw has directly contributed to the loss of customer revenue for local Black-owned businesses and, sadly, has forced the closure of some businesses along this 1.3-mile corridor. For years now, churches have been experiencing decreased attendance due to the elimination of parking, and social service programs for vulnerable fellow citizens have been altogether halted. For years now, residents have watched their quality of life erode, and nothing has been done about it. If they think they can get away with treating Black folk like second-class citizens, they better think again.
You better think about what you're trying to do to me.
This town hall meeting is a reckoning, a public witness, an opportunity for impacted community members to share their experiences for the public record as we prepare to hold those responsible accountable for this enduring nightmare. So please join us Thursday, July 30th, 6:30 p.m. at Bethesda Temple Church, 4909 Crenshaw Boulevard. This town hall meeting is free and open to the public, but registration is required at KBLA1580.com. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, whoa, oh, whoa, oh, whoa. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, whoa, oh, whoa, oh, whoa. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me.
I'm Jesse Jackson.
Talk 1580, download the app.
Really Talk 1580. I just want to run this clip.
Brother Malcolm said, black folk are the only folk that allow their entertainers to be presented as political leaders in their community. He said white folk didn't ask what Frank Sinatra was thinking about when it came to politics. And I came by to tell you that I do not care about the uninformed, ignorant opinion of a hip-hop artist, of a movie star, of a celebrity. You don't speak for us. Just because your album went platinum don't mean you speak for us. Just because you were cute in the 90s don't mean that we're going to go to your concert in 2026. Just because you got a Heisman Trophy don't mean you represent us. Just because they gave you a microphone don't mean you represent us. Just because they pay you for your football opinion doesn't mean you speak for me. Just because you make people laugh don't mean you make sense. Mike, are you strapped? Because it's about to get hot right here. I came by to declare today that if you ain't got no receipts, you should have no voice. If you ain't never done nothing for us, if you've never supported our colleges, if you never fought for our causes, if you never registered folk to vote, if you never served in our community, you ain't got no receipts. And if you ain't got no receipts, you ain't got no voice.
Receipts, not records. There's a moment in Reverend Howard John Wesley's recent sermon that deserves to be and to outlive the news cycle that it came from. He was talking about who actually gets to speak for a community and who doesn't, no matter how much of a spotlight they hold. His argument boiled down, a platform is not the same thing as a mandate. Having a hit song, a Heisman Trophy, a sitcom role, or a microphone on television does not make you a spokesperson for anybody but yourself. Wesley pointed out that white America never asked Frank Sinatra to weigh in on politics on behalf of white people. But black celebrities, he said, get treated differently. The moment they're famous, they're expected to be political leaders too, whether they've earned the trust or not. Wesley's word for the thing that actually earns someone a voice was receipts. Have you shown up? Have you given back, supported the colleges, backed the causes, registered people to vote, put in real time in the community? If the answer is no, a platinum album or punchline doesn't buy you standing. As he put it, if you don't have receipts, you don't have a voice. But I want to add something to that because it's important that we not let this become a blanket dismissal of celebrity itself. There's a long tradition of people who took real fame and spent it on something bigger than themselves, and they're worth naming because they show what having receipts actually looks like. Joe Louis and Muhammad Ali, heavyweight champions who each in their own era became symbols of dignity far beyond the ring. Paul Robeson, one of the most gifted performers of his century, who sacrificed his career for his politics. Jim Brown and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, athletes who used their stature to organize and speak plainly about justice. Tommy Smith and John Carlos, who turned an Olympic medal stand into one of the most enduring images of protest of American history. Jesse Owens, whose very presence on the field in Berlin in 1936 was a rebuke to a regime built on racial hatred. Aretha Franklin, whose music itself became an anthem of dignity and respect. Colin Kaepernick, who put his career on the line over a knee on a sideline. Harry Belafonte, Sidney Poitier, Ossie Davis, Ruby Dee, who used Hollywood access to bankroll and organize the civil rights movement directly, not just comment on it from a distance. And it was not only a black story, Bruce Springsteen and Willie Nelson, two of the most famous white artists in American music, spent decades putting their names and their money behind labor, farmers, and working people who had to be heard. With all of what they all share isn't just fame. It's that fame that came second. It was a tool that picked up after the commitment, not a substitute for it. That's the difference between a celebrity and a witness. A witness has skin in the game before anybody's watching. A celebrity can just as easily have none at all. So here's the test I propose. Before you let somebody's fame do your thinking for you, ask what they've actually built, fought for, or shown up for. If the answer is nothing, if it's just following a feed, enjoy their music, their movies, their touchdowns without outsourcing your judgment to them. But when someone has genuinely spent their platform the way Ali did, or Robeson did, or Belafonte did, that's not celebrity opinion anymore. That's earned witness, and it deserves to be heard differently. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. When we come forward, our regular conversation with Atiba this Thursday on Thought Provoking Thursday. More when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's sharp. She's fearless. I don't know what they told you, but if they told you that cutting me off is how I'm going to get clicks, stop it now. She's that girl, and she's bringing all of that to your radio this summer. Amanda Seales is here. I am Amanda Seales. Comedian, artist, actress, activist, truth teller. The woman who never bites her tongue is coming to KBLA Talk 1580. And baby, the conversations are about to be unmatched. Every Friday, she's going to be lit noon to 2 p.m. and back again 4 to 6 p.m. starting Friday, July 17th. Only on KBLA Talk 1580. Amanda Seales, keeping it real, keeping it raw, and keeping it rooted. Politics, pop culture, black excellence, the stuff they don't want us talking about. Amanda's talking about all of it. You keep interrupting me when I'm talking, and you don't want to hear the point that I'm going to make. And yet you want me to respect your point. And that's not how a debate works. This is not your average radio show. This is a Seales Summer. Fridays, noon to 2, 4 to 6. Starting Friday, July 17th. Only on KBLA Talk 1580. Don't just listen. Tune in.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu!
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Folly, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. It's Thought Provoking Thursdays on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, and that puts us firmly in conversation with Atiba, former Deputy Executive Director for the National Black Caucus of State Legislators, Strategic Alliance Consultant, and President of Party Politics US. Atiba, welcome forward to the show.
Jesse, it's great to be here.
I am so grateful that you are here, Atiba. A lot's taking place in the month of August. Martin Luther King III, the Reverend Al Sharpton, Ben Crump, Brother Johnson, Brother Morial have all called for a national march, an anniversary march on August 28th, consistent with the march that Martin Luther King Jr. participated in. I might add that march was organized by the Pullman Porters. Pullman, that Porter March protest, began decades before that in the 2nd Congressional District of Illinois, in the Pullman District of the 2nd Congressional District, now a national park that I largely had a role in naming. But Dr. King was invited to that march, and he added a content, a poetry, and a grace to that march that laid the foundation for one of the hottest summers in the nation's history. Dr. King referred to it as a sweltering day. That march would mobilize and motivate and inspire people to move forward on the 1964 Civil Rights Act, the 1965 Voting Rights Act, and subsequent public accommodations legislation as a kind of catalyst. Atiba, I do believe we should be marching on August 28th with Dr. Sharpton and many others who will be joining. What are your thoughts?
I hope they don't get next to that reflecting pool and get people arrested. No, you know.
That's a good point. Do not touch the reflecting pool. Do not touch the paint. Do not even look at it sideways. Good point.
I mean, you know, it's DC. Two, we got an affordability issue that's going on. So we're asking people to spend money to go somewhere when I really think we need to be organizing in a way to get people motivated, invigorated to do things within their districts, within their churches, within their mosques, within their synagogues, within their communities, and then identify, educate, make sure people know when to vote, and march every day to go and vote. March every day and give people something to march toward, because when they marched on Washington, August 28th, 1963, they marched there. It was a march for jobs. It was a poor people's campaign, and it was spearheaded by A. Philip Randolph many decades before with the Pullman's car
Porters.
Porters. There's so much more history that goes behind a march than just a march. And when they came to Washington in 63, they met with the president. When they came to Washington in 63, there were so many people there, they couldn't get and start at the front of the line. There were so many people that were there. And it was such an important thing that John Lewis, who wanted to really be militant compared to what the NAACP and Roy Wilkins and others wanted him to say, that he had to tone down his speech. And today, to me, is not a time to be toned down. It's not a time for speeches. It's a time for action, the type of action that we saw SNCC do when they were getting us the right to vote. So, yeah, I'm not so much for this march to vote, not at this point, not at this time, because what is the demand?
I think we can do both. That's just my opinion. But I do think, and you brought up a great idea, that the leadership of the march should seek a meeting, a broad meeting that includes the NAACP, the Urban League, the Congressional Black Caucus, the National Action Network, the Rainbow Push Coalition. I do think on the anniversary of the March on Washington, they should seek a meeting with Donald Trump and present to him a list of demands. That is the appropriate thing to do. In fact, I would make the argument, and I can make the argument, that more of the anniversary marches on August 28th did result in a meeting with the President of the United States, some Democrat and some Republican in the past, who were willing to listen to the grievances of thousands of people who showed up. Why can't we do both, Atiba? March in Washington, march in our communities, raise hell on August 28th and remind people of the significance of what happened in 1963, and that there is an attack on August 28th, 2026 on Brown versus the Board of Education. We heard that in the Louisiana case yesterday. Appeals court said that they no longer have to comply with desegregation orders, and we had a long conversation about it. We've seen an attack on the Voting Rights Act of 1965 in Robinson versus Calais. We're looking at attacks on the civil rights of Somalians and other Americans here in the United States, including the deportation of people who are legally American citizens because of Donald Trump's interpretation of the 14th Amendment to the Constitution. I can't think of better circumstances in 2026 for why we must march. We must march. If we have to walk from home all the way to Washington just to dramatize the shameful condition, I think it's a good idea, Tiba.
I think dramatizing it comes when you organize at your community centers, at your churches, at your mosques, in the weeks and days before election day, when you get together in large numbers and vote. You know, there are people that are going to be fearful of going to vote, but when you vote in numbers too large to manipulate the outcome, and you get people locked in, armed, and whether or not they're walking on sidewalks or on the streets, and you get them to go and vote together, then they let them go home and create, election night watch parties, or have election night watch parties around the country. Because here's the thing, here's the case for hope. Right now, everything that is coming out of Washington is meant to create hate, division, and fear. And we are feeding into that. And I just think that, at this point, this is a ideal time for us to look at 2018, for instance, as an example, and look at what women did in organizing, what they did in terms of what they did in communities. They did have a march, but they had a march right after, the day after the inauguration, when there were already people in Washington, and then they encouraged more people to come to Washington. And I was there, and there were so many people that were there. I'm sorry, 2017. There were so many people that were there that we couldn't even march. There was nowhere to walk. And as a result, they went back into their districts. They went back into their cities. They organized, and they won the election in 2018 with a president who at the time had an approval rating that was in the 40s and hovering below, almost in the 30s, which is what we have today.
So I think the March on Washington, in terms of the anniversary marches, and I've been to more of them that I remember at this point. It becomes a gathering, right? We don't march like down Constitution Avenue to the Lincoln Memorial. It's a gathering at the Lincoln Memorial with people who have protest signs.
Stay away from that pool.
That's about 2.5 months before the November election. And my experience has been on the anniversaries of this march is that people are motivated, they are inspired, they are compelled. Like Dr. King, go back to the hamlets in Georgia, go back to Lookout Mountain, Tennessee, go back to these places that you've come from and let freedom ring. Now, we need that, in my opinion, we need that moment 2 months before the election to sharpen the pencil of our participations. Why? Because Atiba says midterms effing matter. And they do effing matter. This isn't a showboat of celebrity. This was serious business. And I might add, in 1963, on this question of celebrity, picking up where Reverend John Howard Wesley left off. And by the way, if I could join his church, I certainly would. I don't want anyone to think I was particularly criticizing him. That brother right there is a total fire right now. Total fire. Sidney Poitier was there. Marlon Brando was there. Some members of the Rat Pack were there. Mahalia Jackson was there. These people took their celebrity because they understood the significance of the hour. And if we understand the significance of the hour, to register, to vote, to participate, to understand that midterms effing matter, and we've got 2 months to make a difference, to regain control of this Congress and maybe even the Senate of the United States. And we do need a national gathering to do that. Because, for example, the NAACP is in Chicago right now. Rainbow Push had its conference 2 weeks ago. The Urban League, I suspect, will be having its conference if they haven't had it already. But the one event that pulls all of these people to group from their tribes or from their little groups or from their method and ideology about organization is the idea that we're going into an election and we cannot take it for granted.
Yeah. So, Jesse, I'm just going to go back to this about marching. Because, having lived in Washington, D.C. and having attended a lot of marches, I'm going to tell you that, people are tired of speeches and they want action. People are tired of walking and marching to something that's empty. And when I say empty, I'm picturing marching to the Capitol, and I can't remember what that march was for. And then everyone is looking around saying, well, what's next? That's why I like to go back to the 2017, January 21st, I think it was 2017 March of the Women's March, because not only did they march, but then I was going to meetings where they were organizing, and the outcome that they got from there was that in 2018, they sent more women to Congress than at any other point in history, 99 years after women got the right to vote. So I guess, for me, I know what I'm doing for myself. I'm re-educating myself on our history in this country, re-educating about the pathway and the struggles and the challenges that it took for us to get to the right to vote. Because I have been saddened over the years at how we have taken for granted that right to vote. And I keep reminding myself, in fact, I have right now next to me, John Lewis's book, Walking with the Wind. And I speak about this almost every day now to people, that in the book, he wrote to me, to Atiba, with faith and hope, keep your eyes on the prize. Jesse, you served with the late congressman, and you know how much voting was to him. He gave his life for us to have the right to vote. And I just think that there are other ways, and there are ways that we, and I'm saying that maybe the march will work for some people, but I've been to that march also on August 28th, and I've noticed that they're not the same numbers of people. There's a fewer people that are going to these marches because people are tired of marching, because it's almost like running the same play in a football game and expecting that the defense is not going to eventually figure out how to beat it. And so when I say, hey, let's organize, let me just finish this. When I say let's organize and let's march to vote, it is because it's taking those experiences and recognizing that people want to march to something, and marching to vote is some way to do that.
Maybe what we could do, which was a great idea that you just advanced, is seek a meeting with Donald John Trump, not one individual, because my experience has been one person go in there and come out smiling, something terribly wrong. I don't agree with that. Everybody has to go and look at each other and look who has courage and say what needs to be said and redress our grievances. And we can maintain an erect spine in that process. Ain't nobody going over there bowing and scraping. We're grown people. I'd use, boozy badass grown people. I mean, we badass people, man. We grown badass people, using Boozy's last name, since I can't use that word on air. But since his name, I guess I can call his old name. So my point is, there are things that we can do. A couple of 100,000 people in Washington can redress their grievances to their members of Congress. The news media turning its attention to that march with 2 months left. What else can we do after August? Hear me out, because our kids are going back to school. When do we gather them and say, listen, when you go back to A&T, when you go back to Howard, when you go back to Morehouse, when you go back to Kentucky State, when you go back to Winston-Salem, when you go back to Spelman College, make sure that you encourage students to register and vote where they live. In other words, the freshman class does not live in New York or in Chicago. You live according to the law wherever you spent the last 3 nights in a row. You are now from Georgia. You are not going back home to vote in New York. So register to vote so you can vote here on Election Day. And that's the difference. That's the difference.
Jesse, and the names that you mentioned who are organizing this march, where are the 1963 John Lewis's? Where are the 1963 Diane Nash's? That's where I'm, because I keep hearing the same names, and so they're
largely deceased. Their name should be Atiba. Their name should be Atiba.
No, that's my point. I'm not saying them. I'm saying, where are the younger people today who are doing this? Who are the younger people who are being involved and engaged in this? That's where I don't want to argue about or debate, that part of it. What I do want to do, hopefully, is also get into a conversation today to talk about where the hope is, because I think that the messages that we need I won't say need, that can help us, is having simple messages that people can communicate to each other that's going to motivate them to go vote.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. More conversation with Atiba right here on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani says officials are reviewing reports of a large homeless encampment on Manhattan's West Side.
We are focused on connecting New Yorkers to shelter and on establishing a pipeline to stable housing, not just moving New Yorkers from one place to another place.
Under city policy, outreach teams must engage with unhoused individuals for 7 days before any camp can be cleared. A Pennsylvania district attorney is facing criticism after defending an officer who detained Black teenager Jesse Lopez Jr. for wearing a hoodie. The teen was not charged with a crime, and the DA said Detective Tyson Havens was working undercover at the time while investigating a recent round of shootings. And the ESPYs honored this year's top athletes Wednesday night in New York. Jalen Brunson and Asia Wilson took top honors, while Shohei Ohtani, Lionel Messi, and Terrence Crawford were among the winners recognized for excellence in their sports. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Attention Ram owners. Complete Recall 67A. Get $500 and a chance to win a getaway to Miami for two to see the final race of the season. Plus, meet Brendan Butterbean Queen. Learn more and schedule at CumminsRecall.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Philadelphia 76ers continue to be the most diligent NBA team in pursuing LeBron in free agency. NBA sources are reporting that the Sixers' best players, Tyrese Maxey, Jaylen Brown, and Joel Embiid, have had direct conversations with LeBron. All three have a connection to the 41-year-old future Hall of Famer. Maxey has worked out with LeBron in previous off seasons and calls LeBron a big brother. LeBron spoke up for Brown in February when Brown was with Boston. LeBron said Brown should have been a top MVP candidate. LeBron and Embiid won a gold medal together when they played for Team USA in the 2024 Summer Olympics in Paris. If Golden State, Cleveland, and Miami are still in the running for LeBron, they better step up their game. The Philadelphia 76ers are not playing. Even Sixers owner Bob Myers has made a pitch to LeBron. No timetable yet from LeBron on making a decision. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
In a world full of noise, one station keeps it real. KBLA Talk 1580, where the conversation goes deeper, the voices sound like yours, and the issues that matter most to our community take center stage. Progressive, powerful, unapologetically us. Whether you're driving through the city or tuning in from your home or office, join the public square. KBLA Talk 1580, your home for talk that enlightens, encourages, and empowers. Listen live on our free KBLA 1580 app, on our website at KBLA1580.com, or on your radio dial at 1580 AM.
Unapologetically progressive.
Don't be anxious or confused about AI. Take control of your career when you get the skills to tackle real business problems and design specialized solutions. HR Dive reported that entry-level talent with applied AI credentials can receive up to a 25% salary boost. But where do you find training that you can trust? Future-proof your career and deliver more value with Humans Lead the Way AI. Their hybrid learning courses use practical definitions, real-world examples, and strategic insights to help you and your team understand AI with confidence. No magic, no hacks, no shortcuts. Just practical knowledge that helps you use AI more successfully. Don't wait. AI can never replace people who know how to use it well. Register for courses today at humansleadtheway.com. That's humansleadtheway.com.
Let me put my hard hat on, go back outside, and see if these procrastination Crenshaw construction crews have shown up yet. I'm saving space for grace, But if these trucks don't show up soon, well, you already know.
Destination Crenshaw, your time is up. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. KBLA Talk 1580 and Bethesda Temple Church invite residents, churches, businesses, and community leaders along the Crenshaw corridor to join a vitally important community conversation Thursday, July 30th, 6:30 p.m. at Bethesda Temple Church, 4909 Crenshaw Boulevard. For years now, this community has been living with unkept promises and the devastating effects of the unfinished Destination Crenshaw construction project, leaving residents, businesses, and churches to deal with myriad problems, including the loss of parking, restricted access, traffic congestion, and a lack of emergency vehicle access when it matters most. For years now, Procrastination Crenshaw has directly contributed to the loss of customer revenue for local Black-owned businesses and, sadly, has forced the closure of some businesses along this 1.3-mile corridor. For years now, churches have been experiencing decreased attendance due to the elimination of parking, and social service programs for vulnerable fellow citizens have been altogether halted. For years now, residents have watched their quality of life erode, and nothing has been done about it. If they think they can get away with treating Black folk like second-class citizens, they better think again.
You better think about what you're trying to do to me.
This town hall meeting is a reckoning, a public witness, an opportunity for impacted community members to share their experiences for the public record as we prepare to hold those responsible accountable for this enduring nightmare. So please join us Thursday, July 30th, 6:30 p.m. at Bethesda Temple Church, 4909 Crenshaw Boulevard. This town hall meeting is free and open to the public, but registration is required at KBLA1580.com. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Folly, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. In the next hour, we'll be in the World House with Dr. Johnny Mack on Thought Provoking Thursday. Dr. James Ogby is also going to join us from the Arab American Institute. Not only talk about the role Arab Americans will play in the upcoming election, the role that AIPAC is playing in the present midterm process, and how politics in the Middle East could affect the outcome, including the division that presently exists within the Democratic Party. That's in the next hour, right here on Thought Provoking Thursdays on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. But in this hour, our very special guest and regular contributor is Atiba, TV political contributor for BNC News, The Heat, In the Know with Mo, The Leslie Marshall Show, WHUR, and One America News Network. Atiba, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Jesse, it's good being here.
Atiba, I want to make two observations because I've helped organize anniversary marches on Washington in the past as the field director of the Rainbow Coalition. I did that for a number of years before I ran for Congress. At that time, we had organizations in 48 states that were part of the Rainbow Coalition under the leadership of the Reverend Jesse Jackson. So the first thing that always comes up at these marches is we need to hear from more young people, right? So that's a function of passing the mic. Can we get the old folk to pass the mic? They had the same problem in 1963. Will A. Philip Randolph and them pass the mic to 35-year-old Dr. King? He was a young man at the March on Washington. Will they pass the mic to old young John Lewis at the time? He was in his early 30s. Could C.T. Vivian be allowed to speak? All of these guys were under 35 years old in 1963. They were the young cats. that were being denied an opportunity to speak. And of course, when Dr. King did speak, remember he died at age 39 in 1968. We're talking 1963. So how old is he? 33 years old. That's the space that he's in when he delivers the I Have a Dream speech. We don't think about it quite like that. He's 33 years old. Now, so there was this young versus old dynamic and passing the mic, and Dr. King added a poetry to the event that changed the course of the march. You almost don't even refer to it as the March for Jobs and Justice, which A. Philip Randolph and those guys organized. Now, why were they allowed to speak at the march? Because A. Philip Randolph organized and brought hundreds, if not thousands, of Pullman porters from around the country to fight for jobs and justice. That's the occasion. That's the organizing that Bayard Rustin and Reverend James Lawson and others participated in to make it happen. So here's the argument that I would make if I were organizing a march today. I'd like to hear from Justin Pearson. If Justin Pearson at the march called me and said, listen, I want to speak at the March on Washington, first thing my mind would say is, oh, that brother wants the mic. He deserves the mic. I would say, brother, if you can commit to bringing 20 buses from Memphis, Tennessee to the march, I'll call Reverend Sharpton myself. I'll call Ben Crump, Mark Morial, and Johnson myself and say, you should speak. Jasmine Crockett, she's got receipts. One could argue that she deserves the right to speak at the march. She's really put heat on this administration. She's registering more voters than both of us at this very hour. She's earned the right to be there. But if she said she wanted to speak at the March on Washington, I'd say, one, I think she's earned the right to speak at the March on Washington. But who am I? I mean, I don't control who speaks or doesn't speak. But if she called me and told me that she was going to make sure she brought 20 buses from Houston and Dallas, Texas, I get Al Sharpton on the phone and say, brother, she's not just coming to speak. She's bringing a couple of thousand people with her, and they're taking a long trip from Texas to Washington. She deserves to be on the platform. In other words, a lot of our people who want the mic, they skip over the buses that need to get there. They skip over the organizing, the churches on Sunday morning, organizing local preachers and saying, preacher, I need you to send a bus with me to Washington. And that's about 20 different churches, and ask them to underwrite the churches and provide lunches for people on the churches. That comes with an expense. That's real organizing. And then these people get to go back to the hamlets and to these other parts of the country and spread the word.
Okay, but for the last few months, we've been talking about an issue that I think is on the ballot and that folks should keep on the ballot and can keep talking about it. And that one word is affordability.
That should definitely be.
I'm living in California. I'm living in California. But I'm living in California, and you're asking me to come all the way across the country when we could do a Zoom call and have millions of people get on that Zoom call.
You but it's not the same. It's on this issue. You can have a march on August 28th.
But that's what happened with the Women's March. That's what the women were doing. Like, so to me, instead of having something to say, hey, we're coming to DC, please stay away from the reflecting pool, and telling people, you know, as opposed to doing that, let's organize and have these things that are happening within these cities. And let's have something that's just not being organized by us, but something that's showing that we're leading this conversation about where we want the country to go and why we're going to vote in numbers too large to manipulate the outcome. And that we're going to demonstrate that by showing you the power of our forces within the cities, as opposed to asking people to come now, just over a month and organizing something from DC. That's my piece. But the thing that I really would like to talk about today, Jesse, if we can get into, is a case for hope. Because I hope that they talk about some of these things to motivate people to want to go vote. Because tonight, I have no idea what the president's going to say. I don't know if you got in a transcript or got any.
No one's watching it. ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, Fox, all have said they're not going to cover it because he has election grievances. That's all he wants to talk about. And thank God that the media has said they're not going to cover it tonight. Now, that doesn't mean that the president of the United States speech is not going to be out. And I promise you, when we come forward in about a minute and 1 second, we're definitely going to talk about this case for hope. I get that. But I do want to say this. we can do both at the same time. Barbara Arnwine tomorrow, I think, or Saturday, is having the Good Trouble marches, protests in thousands of locations across the country. She's a regular contributor on the show. She's doing the work. She's not asking everybody to come to Washington. She's asking people to engage locally so that all media, the collective number of stories that are written about the Good Trouble, the very book that John Lewis signed to you, is in honor of John Lewis, and it's tomorrow and it is Saturday, the 17th through the 19th, I believe it is. The 17th through the 19th, I'm speaking at a Good Trouble event, the Freedom Fund Dinner, in Rock Hill, South Carolina on Saturday. So we are out here in the streets. We're not all going to Washington, but August 28th, I believe, is an important landmark. When we come forward, we're going to make the case for hope with our very special regular contributor, Atiba. More when we come forward on KBLA Talk 15.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
You have something to say, and we want to hear it. KBLA Talk 1580 is engagement radio, not outrage radio. A place where your hopes, your frustrations, and your ideas are welcome 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Real talk, real people, real Los Angeles. KBLA Talk 1580, the station that sounds like the city looks. Tune in on your AM radio dial at 1580. Download our free KBLA 1580 app or listen live on our website at KBLA1580.com.
Unapologetically progressive.
Listen up, KBLA delegation. We have something you need to hear. Right now, you may qualify for low-cost home internet. And we're not talking about a catch. This is real. Many internet service providers offer low-cost internet plans if anyone in your household is enrolled in CalFresh, Medi-Cal, SSI, or is income eligible. There are a lot of families in our community who deserve to be connected. Here's all you do. Call 844-461-7893. That's the Get Connected call center. Real people ready to help you enroll today. Or go online to internetforallnow.org to find a provider near you. You may also qualify for a low-cost computer through Human IT. Connectivity is not a luxury. In 2026, it's a necessity, and you deserve access just like everybody else. Call 844-461-7893. That's 844-461-7893. KBLA's got you. If you missed any of this, you can always go to our website at KBLA1580.com. Brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 in partnership with the California Emerging Technology Fund, CETF.
Going to a World Cup match in LA this summer? Ditch the parking stress and ride Metro. With direct service from across LA County, it's the easy way to get there for just $1.75 each way.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The midterm elections are upon us. It is voting season once again. Common Cause's motto is fighting for the democracy we deserve. In service of that goal, Common Cause puts its state and national policy expertise, massive network of grassroots supporters, and nonpartisan approach into action to strengthen our democracy against the challenges we face today. They work at every level of government on priorities that impact each of our lives, like defending the right to vote, limiting big money's influence on our elections, holding public officials accountable, and more. Common Cause is a nonpartisan grassroots organization dedicated to upholding the core values of American democracy. They seek to empower all people to make their voices heard in the political process. This election may be the most important one ever. If you'd like to make a donation or volunteer in service to the Constitution, please visit commoncause.org. That's commoncause.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Roger and Tracy saved over $18,400. Cynthia was recovering from a family tragedy and saved over $10,300. If you are drowning in debt, then call Debt Blue. Debt Blue is a professional debt negotiation firm with over 20 years of experience helping people pay back a fraction of what they owe. Learn how to cut your debt up to half or maybe more. Be debt-free in 24 to 48 months, even with bad credit. With an A+ rating from the BBB, you can rest easy knowing Debt Blue is going to deliver guaranteed debt reduction. Debt Blue offers a success guarantee. You pay nothing unless your debt is reduced or completely resolved. That's right. You save money or it's free. Call now for significant debt relief and a free consultation. 800-200-8879. That's 800-200-8879. You don't have to declare bankruptcy. This program works if you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in debt. Call for your free consultation today. 800-200-8879. That's 800-200-8879.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Folly, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the need. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the need. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. We're in conversation with Atiba. Atiba is our regular contributor on Thursdays, and I'm so grateful that he is here with us. Atiba, the case for hope.
Yeah, so, Jesse, I feel like in the conversation, in fact, I just recently had a conversation with a friend who moved out of the country because she was just flabbergasted and just upset about the political landscape and where things are. And I completely understand. The case for hope right now, though, that I'd like to talk about is the fact that why is the president spending so much time on trying to get the Save America Act passed, which is totally runs different than what the John R. Lewis Voting Rights Act Amendment Act would have done in terms of strengthening election systems. And a lot of that has to do with, and I'm circling John Ossoff in Georgia. And the reason why I'm saying that is because Democrats are closer than a lot of voters think if they get their folks out to vote on election day. And as I keep saying, vote in numbers too large to manipulate the outcome. And the reason why I say this is because as someone who works on the state level and is with state legislators quite often, I'm looking at things like November 2025, when 2 Republican incumbents were ousted for the first time since 2006 on their Georgia Public Service Commission. Why is that important? Democrats hadn't held those seats for 20 years. I'm living right here in Miami, Florida, where the mayor in December of 2025 beat an endorsed Republican by the president for the first time since 1997 and the first woman. It was flipped. The Mar-a-Lago, Florida House seat was flipped March 2026. In Texas in 2026, a seat that the president won by 17 points was flipped by a 31-point swing to Democrats. I can go on and on. I can go into Iowa. I can go into Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I can talk about another state Senate seat in August 2025 in Iowa, in Little Rock, Arkansas. I'm saying these things to say that the numbers show that the reason why the president's going to give this speech tonight, the reason why the president's going to question election integrity is because Republicans around the country have been losing. In fact, since he returned to office, 30 legislative seats have been flipped in special elections. Republicans have flipped 0. And though they redistricted and they redrew these districts and they were to penalize our communities, I believe that what they're paying attention to, but we're not seeing, is that there are many people, whether or not it's in farm country, whether or not it's in rural areas, that there are people that are disenchanted by where they see the economy going because affordability is an issue that is impacting every single American from the top to the bottom.
I accept that. And I couldn't have said it plainer or clearer than people vote their economic issues. Or as James Carville said, it's the economy, stupid. And Bill Clinton picked up on that. What I would argue is that I think Democrats, in light of the numbers that you've shared and that are increasingly moving in a blue direction for Democrats, is whether or not a Democratic Congress for Hakeem Jeffries is even governable. Now, I'm raising a different question. The Democratic caucus is made up of a black caucus. It is losing members as a result of redistricting. And so is the Hispanic caucus, our brown brothers and sisters in the Congress. The Israeli lobby is putting a lot of pressure on the Democratic primary, American Israeli Political Action Committee. They too will have a caucus within the Democratic Party and candidates who are largely funded in their campaigns to get to Congress by that organization and those interests. The Democratic Socialists of America will have a caucus in the Democratic Party. The Blue Dogs, conservative Democrats from the South, they too will have a caucus within the Democratic Party. And while Democrats may have a majority, maybe a slim majority, or let's just say it's not a slim majority, let's say we're up by 10 or 12 seats, which would be fairly amazing, that does not mean that the Democratic Party can govern, because there's enough caucuses who will vote with Republicans on issues that matter to us, including questions of affordability. Now, that is just the math of what we're looking at, unless we have a solid message.
So this is what I say, because I've been seeing a lot of my liberal Democratic friends post about their concern about Democratic Socialists. I don't like the term, I'll be honest, but I can't say that I'm not ignoring what their messages are. And their messages, to me, symbolize that there should be no poor people in a country that has so much wealth, that people shouldn't have to work 3 and 4 jobs. We've had Democratic Congresses that have not, and Democratic presidencies that have not adequately addressed that. And when you look at the founding of this country, and I hope that in the future we also get to talk about the African Americans who were in the room when the reading of the United States Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, who fought in the wars or what have you, because we have been engaged. And the reason why we have the amendments, many of the amendments that we have that impact everyday life today, is because of us. But we don't talk enough about that. But in order to create a United States Constitution, to get people to sign on to a Declaration of Independence, there were compromises and negotiations that had to take place. I'm not afraid of the compromises and negotiation. What I am paying attention to firmly is that the direction of this country is on a train heading nowhere that helps everyday Americans. It is one in which the wealthy continue to pocket, and they continue to take the money out of our bank accounts willingly and unwillingly. And the willing part comes because we have to go to work. So we have to travel. We have to pay for fuel. We have to eat. So we have to go to the grocery store. So these things are issues that we need to be talking about. And I try not to say need, but these are issues that we need to be talking about, and getting so much out of the labeling of our political caucuses or what have you, and find ways of where is the middle ground that is going to impact, in effect, in a positive way, the average American, because we make up more of the country than not.
We'll have to let that be the final word on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show and our conversation with the team. But more on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward. We'll be in the World House with Johnny Mack. Our very special guest will be none other than Dr. James Zogby. More when we come forward right here on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani says officials are reviewing reports of a large homeless encampment on Manhattan's West Side.
We are focused on connecting New Yorkers to shelter and on establishing a pipeline to stable housing, not just moving New Yorkers from one place to another place.
Under city policy, outreach teams must engage with unhoused individuals for 7 days before any camp can be cleared. A Pennsylvania district attorney is facing criticism after defending an officer who detained Black teenager Jesse Lopez Jr. for wearing a hoodie. The teen was not charged with a crime, and the DA said Detective Tyson Havens was working undercover at the time while investigating a recent round of shootings. And the ESPYs honored this year's top athletes Wednesday night in New York. Jalen Brunson and Asia Wilson took top honors, while Shohei Ohtani, Lionel Messi, and Terrence Crawford were among the winners recognized for excellence in their sports. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Attention Ram owners. Complete Recall 67A. Get $500 and a chance to win a getaway to Miami for two to see the final race of the season. Plus, meet Brendan Butterbean Queen. Learn more and schedule at CumminsRecall.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Philadelphia 76ers continue to be the most diligent NBA team in pursuing LeBron in free agency. NBA sources are reporting that the Sixers' best players, Tyrese Maxey, Jaylen Brown, and Joel Embiid, have had direct conversations with LeBron. All three have a connection to the 41-year-old future Hall of Famer. Maxey has worked out with LeBron in previous off seasons and calls LeBron a big brother. LeBron spoke up for Brown in February when Brown was with Boston. LeBron said Brown should have been a top MVP candidate. LeBron and Embiid won a gold medal together when they played for Team USA in the 2024 Summer Olympics in Paris. If Golden State, Cleveland, and Miami are still in the running for LeBron, they better step up their game. The Philadelphia 76ers are not playing. Even Sixers owner Bob Myers has made a pitch to LeBron. No timetable yet from LeBron on making a decision. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Let me put my hard hat on, go back outside, and see if these procrastination Crenshaw construction crews have shown up yet. I'm saving space for grace, but if these trucks don't show up soon, well, you already know.
Destination Crenshaw, your time is up. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. KBLA Talk 1580 and Bethesda Temple Church invite residents, churches, businesses, and community leaders along the Crenshaw corridor to join a vitally important community conversation Thursday, July 30th, 6:30 p.m. at Bethesda Temple Church, 4909 Crenshaw Boulevard. For years now, this community has been living with unkept promises and the devastating effects of the unfinished Destination Crenshaw construction project, leaving residents, businesses, and churches to deal with myriad problems, including the loss of parking, restricted access, traffic congestion, and a lack of emergency vehicle access when it matters most. For years now, Procrastination Crenshaw has directly contributed to the loss of customer revenue for local Black-owned businesses and, sadly, has forced the closure of some businesses along this 1.3-mile corridor. For years now, churches have been experiencing decreased attendance due to the elimination of parking, and social service programs for vulnerable fellow citizens have been altogether halted. For years now, residents have watched their quality of life erode, and nothing has been done about it. If they think they can get away with treating Black folk like second-class citizens, they better think again.
You better think about what you're trying to do to me.
This town hall meeting is a reckoning, a public witness, an opportunity for impacted community members to share their experiences for the public record as we prepare to hold those responsible accountable for this enduring nightmare. So please join us Thursday, July 30th, 6:30 p.m. at Bethesda Temple Church, 4909 Crenshaw Boulevard. This town hall meeting is free and open to the public, but registration is required at KBLA1580.com. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
Jesse Jackson Jr. in the World House with Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580. In the World House, Dr. Johnny Mack joins us, social entrepreneur and scholar practitioner with an expertise in the subject areas of peace, conflict, and social change movements. He's traveled extensively throughout the Americas, Africa, Asia, Europe, and the Middle East, working in the fields of peace, development, conflict, and non-violent social change. Dr. Mack's seminal work, After Confrontation, Then What?, challenges the putative logic of nonviolent social change theory and practice. Dr. Mack, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I think Johnny Mack has to unmute himself.
Hey, Jesse, great to be here. Thank you.
I am so glad that you're here. Dr. Mack, we have a very special guest joining us in this hour, Dr. James Zogby, co-founder and president of the Arab American Institute, a political policy research organization. He's also the founder of Zogby Research Services, a polling firm focused on the Arab world, and has been a prominent political advisor and commentator on Middle East affairs for decades. Dr. Zogby holds a doctorate from Temple University, has been appointed to the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom. He has advised multiple U.S. presidential campaigns, including those of Jesse Jackson, Al Gore, Barack Obama, and Bernie Sanders. He's also held leadership within the Democratic National Committee for over 3 decades. Dr. Zogby, welcome forward to the World House with Dr. Johnny Mack. Dr. Zogby? Johnny, I think Dr. Zogby may have to go in and come back out. Johnny, I want to press Dr. Zogby on some of the domestic politics that are taking place in the United States on the question of the involvement of the Arab American community, but also the American Israeli Political Action Committee, which has been spending literally millions of dollars in some very vulnerable Democratic primary districts across the country, what its consequences are for the Democratic coalition. No one knows the Democratic Party better than the vice chairman of a number of the various committees within the DNC, better than James Zogby. And he's also been the strongest advocate for peace in the Middle East and the two-state solution. So it'd be really interesting to see, one, where James Zogby is on the influence and whether or not the Democratic caucus is actually governable once Hakeem Jeffries becomes Speaker. In the last segment, I talked about the Black Caucus, the Hispanic Caucus, the pro-Israel caucus, the LGBTQ caucus within the Congress. There's the Hispanic caucus. Obviously, the CBC is under attack by the Voting Rights Act of 1965. This motley group that forms the modern Democratic Party, Hakeem Jeffries, has to somehow tie all of them together into a coalition to get something done. Whatever you have to say about Donald Trump, Republicans under Donald Trump's leadership have voted almost like soldiers, lockstep what the President of the United States can do and has threatened and challenged them to do. I would ask Dr. Zogby the first question of the hour, given his relationship and history in the Democratic Party. Can Hakeem Jeffries hold the Democrats together to accomplish a progressive agenda and an affordability agenda for the American people? Dr. Zogby?
No. I don't think Mike Johnson can either. And I certainly didn't think that any of the predecessors did. It's never going to be the Speaker who does it. He's a good person, but can he provide the vision that unites the component groups of the party? No. And you don't expect the Speaker to do that. What you expect is that there be leadership on a national level that can do it. And for a time, we've had that. I mean, we had that with some presidents who've been able to do it. I would say that maybe the one exception in recent years of Speaker who did it was Nancy Pelosi. She was tough, smart, and she actually got the job done. Jeffries is a nice guy, and nice guys don't have the ability to do that. Plus, there is no vision there, we need visionary leadership. And whether you like Donald Trump or not, I don't. I actually think he's a danger to the country. There's a vision. It's a very negative and destructive vision. But after presenting a dystopian view of the world, he convinces people that he alone can fix it. So trust me, and lies his way to, and threatens his way to power. We don't have that. And so, and you're certainly not going to get it from Chuck Schumer, who's not a nice guy, and doesn't command the loyalty of the party. And you're right, the party's fractured. I sit on the other thing I'd say that was interesting was the underappreciated role of Ron Brown when he was chair of the Democratic Party, because people will talk about Bill Clinton, but actually we won that election because of Ron Brown. He provided the messaging between while the primaries were ongoing, before we had a nominee. He was the one who, George Bush had a favorable rating 81%, and Ron Brown knocked him down to the 30s. Failed president, economy's going to whatever, he's not caring for people's needs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. George Bush, I thought, did a marvelous job at the end of the Cold War in sort of seamlessly having us pass from the situation there to a unipolar reality. But he did not pay attention to domestic needs, and Ron did. So we're looking for visionary leadership, and I'm fearful that I'm not seeing it in this cast of characters wanting to run for president. Certainly not Rahm Emanuel.
Jim, let me take this break right here. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580. Johnny Mack and I share a wonderful friendship with Jim Zogby. When we come forward, I know Dr. Mack has a battery of questions for Jim Zogby. I'm looking forward to that conversation. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's sharp. She's fearless.
I don't know what they told you, but if they told you that cutting me off is how I was going to get clicks, stop it now.
She's that girl, and she's bringing all of that to your radio this summer. Amanda Seales is here.
I am Amanda Seales.
Comedian, artist, actress, activist, truth teller. The woman who never bites her tongue is coming to KBLA Talk 1580. And baby, the conversations are about to be unmatched. Every Friday, she's going to be lit noon to 2 p.m. and back again 4 to 6 p.m. starting Friday, July 17th. Only on KBLA Talk 1580. Amanda Seales, keeping it real, keeping it raw, and keeping it rooted. Politics, pop culture, Black excellence, the stuff they don't want us talking about. Amanda's talking about all of it.
You keep interrupting me when I'm talking, and you don't want to hear the point that I'm going to make. And yet you want me to respect your point. And that's not how a debate works.
This is not your average radio show. This is a Seales Summer. Fridays, noon to 2, 4 to 6, starting Friday, July 17th, only on KBLA Talk 1580. Don't just listen, tune in.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. We're in the World House with Dr. Johnny Mack. Our very special guest is none other than the president and founder of the Arab American Institute, longtime leadership member of the Democratic National Committee, serving as vice chairman of a number of critical committees. And I don't think anyone has any better or stronger knowledge of the modern organization of the Democratic Party better than Dr. James Zogby. Dr. Mack, before we came forward, Dr. Zogby answered emphatically no, that Hakeem Jeffries has his hands full, and that this motley group of DSA Democrats who are coming to Congress, largely opposing the behavior of Israel and the United States in the Gaza and in the Strait of Hormuz. Of course, issues of affordability center around that as well. The nature of the Congressional Black Caucus, the nature of what's taking place in the Congress, that Hakeem Jeffries may not have all that it takes, the right stuff, to move a democratic or progressive agenda in the direction of a world house. Dr. Zogby? Dr. Mack?
Hey, Jesse. Yes, I think we lost Jim. I think he's going to come back in. But I think you're right. And certainly Jim is right. And, as you've already stated, his vast experience and his network is unmatched. When he comes back in, I'd be interested to know, Jesse, as we think about the world house, what is the role of the people in the house? Right? If we look solely to political leadership, are we looking in the right direction? And I think that's a question that Jim is uniquely positioned to answer. How can we, the people, bring to bear the kind of pressure and also, Jesse, the kind of vision that moves our our legislative body in the direction that is really responsive to what is happening to ordinary citizens in the Gaza, and not only there, but so many other places around the globe. So I think that's going to be really important to understand, and I think it'll be important to the leaders. We often, and I know I do, talk past our people, from a political point of view. But I think framing this conversation where the abstract rubber meets the concrete road of ordinary citizens, I think will be very helpful.
Mm-hmm. Jim, just before the break, we were talking about, again, Hakeem Jeffries and whether or not he could move this motley group of Democrats together into some structure. Most recently, there was an article that was written, and I guess an official position from Hakeem Jeffries, that he would not oppose an amendment seeking to defund Israel I think either the Foreign Operations Bill or one of the bills that's moving through the House.
The National Defense Authorization.
That's it, and it is receiving tremendous backlash from voters that are participating in these multi-candidate primaries. Jim, what's your read on that?
Well, and look, I think he took the best possible course. He had just gotten a huge contribution from pro-Israel sources for the Democratic Re-election Committee. So he didn't want to cross them. So he tried to thread the needle by saying, I'm voting against this, but I will not hold it against any of you if you vote for it. You vote your conscience. And then his number two, Congresswoman Clark, She voted for it, as did former Speaker Pelosi. We got then 103 Dems, a little more than half, voted to cut aid, and the others voted against it. They see which way the wind is blowing. I'm not sure if we'd had a secret ballot that we wouldn't have had as much as 150, 160 Dems voting for it. I think he did the best he possibly could on that. It was, I think, important that he didn't whip. If he tried to whip to defeat it, he would have looked foolish. And he didn't want to cross some donors by supporting it, so he did what he could. Like I said before, what we're absent is leadership outside the House to provide direction. Somebody like your father, somebody like Bernie, somebody like Barack Obama, somebody, with a vision and a force behind the message that gives people the cover they need. And look, it is, as you note, a divided caucus. That's a good thing. It can actually be a place where new ideas emerge, and I think there are some really wonderful people in the Congress, but it's a Congress without the external vision and leadership that's needed to move forward. And as I'm looking at the candidates in the mix right now, I'm not getting inspired. I'm hoping, and it usually happens, that somebody emerges at some point and you say, oh my God, where's that one been? That we've been waiting for you all our lives. I'm still hoping that happens. Yeah, I'm a bit of a Pollyanna that way. So but in the meantime, we are struggling. We are struggling. I sit on two task forces that were created. One was the Middle East Working Group that Chairman Martin created, and the other one was the Reform Task Force. And the struggle within the factions and the struggle with the what they call the building, the permanent staff and the consultants and the DNC elected members, a lot of division. And because both parties are essentially weak and hollow entities in which all of these competing groups play out, there is no organized structure as there was, say, 50 years ago, where granted, there were abuses and the smoke-filled back rooms and all that stuff. Maybe I'm dating myself. It's actually 70 years ago you had that going on. There was a structure there. People knew I'm a Democrat and I have a card and I go to meetings and there's county and, there are wards and people. It doesn't exist. Being a Democrat today means I'm on an email list that get begging for money.
Oh my God!
That's what a Democrat is. It's not.
Wow.
Where do you get your voice heard? Where do you feel you're a participant in something? And I've been on the DNC for 33 years. I get an email today that says, "Have you checked your membership in the Democratic Party? It looks like you lapsed. Why? Because I haven't sent any money to this particular fund, right? If I send them $10, I don't am a member." But what does that mean? Nothing. So Donald Trump was able to take advantage of that, and the Republicans had the entire establishment, such as it was, opposed them. He beat them. We don't have that on the Democratic side. And I'm not looking for a totalitarian, authoritarian, charismatic nut job, but I'm looking for somebody with a vision, somebody with a forceful message that can say to people, this is where we ought to be. Here's another thing I say. Ask a Republican what they stand for. For the most part, they'd say smaller government, less taxes, right? Ask a Democrat what he stands for, and it's like that 70-year-old guy at the Peace March who's got 40 buttons on his chest, and he points to all of them as if somehow a message emerges, There's no Franklin Roosevelt. There's no visionary Democrat who brings together all the component groups with a simple message. This is a party that cares for those who can't help themselves. This is a party that lifts up, as your father would say, lifts up those who need to be lifted up, because when you do that, all boats rise. We don't have that vision right now. I mean, Kamala Harris, listen to what she said. I wasn't sure what was that all about. Even with Joe Biden, I didn't know what that was all about. It was elect me instead of the nut job. That's not That doesn't win over the hearts and minds of people.
Not a message to the White House. Dr. Mack had a question that just before we had that technical problem that he wanted to frame for you. Dr. Mack, pick up where we left off.
Thank you, Jesse. Jim, so great to see you and chat with you now. Your point was that the structure doesn't work anymore, right? It has, things have fallen apart. What we find, I think, on the right is a grassroots infrastructure and a grassroots framework that not only creates the kind of leadership that you're talking about, which I would agree the left does not have presently, but it has an infrastructure that supports and grows that leadership. What is it that we're missing where the Dems have not found the formula for really building the kind of framework that supports and grows that leadership?
It starts with leadership, with a strategic vision that can implement tactics that bring that vision to reality. For example, I was thinking today about the No Kings. I mean, the infrastructure is there. We've got millions of people across the country that'll turn out and march on days that mean nothing. They're going to march on a day and like, you get millions of people out marching, carrying signs, whatever. You know what they ought to be doing? They ought to be out there on election day at polling places, giving confidence to people who want to vote but who are afraid because ICE might show. If you had 200 people, No Kings people, standing at a polling place, playing music, carrying signs, saying, "Don't be afraid, come vote," it would put ICE to shame. They wouldn't be able to do anything, which is what Trump's going to try to do, intimidate voters. But instead, they call for a march on a date, and like, why are they marching on that date? Why are they turning out on that date? What's that all mean? There's strategic vision missing, tactics to implement the vision missing, and so you got, as your father used to say, Jesse, you got all the rocks, all the standing around. Who's going to take them and build the wall? You know, there is no sense of that right now. I mean, look, we've got powerful, mobilizable Black organizations, Latino organizations, other groups in the peace movement, groups like the No Kings people, the Indivisible. We've got all these groups out there, but what brings them together? And they can be brought together with leadership and a vision.
You know, I just want to follow up on that because I don't know if it was Ozzie Davis or H. Rap Brown who said it's not the man, it's the plan, it's not the map, it's the rap. I know both of them at some point in time said it, but I remember my father very frankly and very clearly saying it's both. It's usually a man with a plan, and he usually has a rap that inspires and brings people into the plan. And so I hear what you're saying, Jim, about the missing leadership of Ron Brown and Jesse Jackson in this particular space. And I think properly situated, because I know we have just about 2 minutes, Johnny, before we come forward. The 1963 I Have a Dream speech is before the midterms in 64. And then there's a presidential election in 1968, right? And so Dr. King's Poor People's Campaign is framed in the context of political events that are taking place after the Voting Rights Act of 1965. So we did have a leader. It is a man and a plan, a map and a rap. Johnny, we have about 45 seconds and then we come forward.
I just wonder, Jesse and Jim, if that's one of the flaws in the mentality on the left. That is, we're looking for a single leader while we work in our silos. We don't coalesce in ways that support and lift up a vision and a single leader. And I think the strategy plays very differently on the right. They identify their leadership. They rally. Look how they rallied around Trump. He became the titular head, and they rallied around him. Somehow on the left, we don't see that kind of coalescing. It's more important that my name and my organization, it's the truth, how painful it might be.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. We're in the World House with Johnny Mack. And when we come forward, more with our very special guest, Dr. James Zogby. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani says officials are reviewing reports of a large homeless encampment on Manhattan's West Side.
We are focused on connecting New Yorkers to shelter and on establishing a pipeline to stable housing, not just moving New Yorkers from one place to another place.
Under city policy, outreach teams must engage with unhoused individuals for 7 days before any camp can be cleared. A Pennsylvania district attorney is facing criticism after defending an officer who detained Black teenager Jesse Lopez Jr. for wearing a hoodie. The team was not charged with a crime, and the DA said Detective Tyson Havens was working undercover at the time while investigating a recent round of shootings. And the ESPYs honored this year's top athletes Wednesday night in New York. Jalen Brunson and Asia Wilson took top honors, while Shohei Ohtani, Lionel Messi, and Terrence Crawford were among the winners recognized for excellence in their sports. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Philadelphia 76ers continue to be the most diligent NBA team in pursuing LeBron in free agency. NBA sources are reporting that the Sixers' best players, Tyrese Maxey, Jaylen Brown, and Joel Embiid, have had direct conversations with LeBron. All three have a connection to the 41-year-old future Hall of Famer. Maxey has worked out with LeBron in previous off seasons and calls LeBron a big brother. LeBron spoke up for Brown in February when Brown was with Boston. LeBron said Brown should have been a top MVP candidate. LeBron and Embiid won a gold medal together when they played for Team USA in the 2024 Summer Olympics in Paris. If Golden State, Cleveland, and Miami are still in the running for LeBron, they better step up their game. The Philadelphia 76ers are not playing. Even Sixers owner Bob Myers has made a pitch to LeBron. No timetable yet from LeBron on making a decision. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, aka the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
There is no denying that we've always been the conscience of this country. KBLA Talk 1580 is progressive talk radio built for our community, by our community, and with hosts who look like you, live near you, and care about what you care about. 50,000 watts of truth right here in Southern California. KBLA Talk 1580. Listen live on your AM radio dial at 1580 or stream us live on our KBLA1580.com website or on our free KBLA 1580 app.
Unapologetically progressive.
Don't be anxious or confused about AI. Take control of your career when you get the skills to tackle real business problems and design specialized solutions. HR Dive reported that entry-level talent with applied AI credentials can receive up to a 25% salary boost. But where do you find training that you can trust? Future-proof your career and deliver more value with Humans Lead the Way AI. Their hybrid learning courses use practical definitions, real-world examples, and strategic insights to help you and your team understand AI with confidence. No magic, no hacks, no shortcuts. Just practical knowledge that helps you use AI more successfully. Don't wait. AI can never replace people who know how to use it well. Register for courses today at humansleadtheway.com. That's humansleadtheway.com.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley drops the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. We're in the World House with Dr. Johnny Mack. Dr. Mack's research includes extensive study of Martin Luther King Jr.'s logic of nonviolence and the U.S. civil rights movement. He explicates Dr. King's logic of nonviolence using King's call to restructure the social edifice and particularly its triple evils of poverty, racism, and militarism with a revolution of values that is effected through peaceable power. Dr. Mack, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Always good to be here, Jesse. Thank you.
Our very special guest is an advisor to presidential candidates and presidents of the United States. He's the founder of the Arab American Institute and a long-standing member, served in vice chair capacities for the Democratic National Committee. He was a member of the founding of the Rainbow Coalition and one of my father's best friends and chiefest advisors, one of the most sought after people in Washington, D.C., Dr. James Zogby. Dr. Zogby, how are you?
I wish I were.
I was about to say, wait a second, that little grunt gave me, I feel even worse than I did before our conversation began. If they're not calling you Dr. Zogby, is there any truth to that?
They're not.
Oh, wow.
Not just this crowd, the Biden never.
Oh,
Never.
wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm pained by that.
Clinton
Dr.
was
Mack-
great. Clinton was great in talking to us. Actually, it was interesting because I had a phone call with him at one point during the Biden administration, and he said to me, Biden must be calling you guys all the time, talking, bringing you in for meetings, dealing with what's going on there. I said, I haven't had a conversation with him once, not a single meeting. He said, what? Not even with your community? I said, not a single meeting with Arab Americans. And I said, it doesn't surprise me because he hasn't met with the Ukrainians either. And 4 years of a war in Ukraine, Biden never met with the Ukrainian Americans or the Eastern European Americans. And it's, bizarre. Just
and
bizarre.
Reverend Jackson did not get a meeting with Joe Biden either as president, and did not get a return phone call from Joe Biden as president of the United States. Dr. Mack, you raised the question earlier about who's in the World House in light of what we are looking at. Race is a factor in what's taking place in the Gaza. Militarism, including an amendment to, I think, one of the bills in the Congress. Sorry if I don't know the specific bill that would forever unite the U.S. military and Israeli defense forces into some kind of one force protecting their interests all around the world, which couldn't be any more dangerous from my perspective than that. And this idea of ongoing poverty to sustain this structure and this emphasis. Dr. Mack?
Yeah. So in listening to what we were just saying about the calls from the various administrations, more than the personalities, gentlemen, I wonder if it reflects the tenor of the time itself, that the personalities are not driving the tenor or tone of the time, but rather the time in which we are living, how people perceive what is happening in the world today is driving that vision and that leadership or lack thereof. So it goes back to your question, Jesse, about, what really matters. You didn't frame it this way, but I think this is what you mean. The people matter. The people of Gaza matter. what made, in my judgment, American apartheid a thing of the past, so to speak, and the apartheid in South Africa, in large part, was how the people responded to what they viewed as the injustices that apartheid represented. And if we can view apartheid as the theory, the strategy, the problem that confronts the people in Gaza and throughout, the Palestinian communities, it is how we, the people, view it and what we demand of our leadership. I think that again is part of what's missing in our global conversation today, and it's part of what's missing in organizing the leadership and the vision that Jim says we're currently lacking. And so to the question of why do we march on this day rather than that day, it is about how people are informed, how they are mobilized and organized around issues. Those strategies of the mid-20th century are very different than we see them today. People are distracted by so many different avenues of communication and information. And I'm not sure that those on the left have fully grasped how to put our arms around new technologies to inform and instruct and build the kind of solidarity that coalesces our efforts into a concerted framework to address the issues that we're trying to.
Johnny, when I was a student at North Carolina A&T between 1984 and 1987, we organized anti-apartheid marches, city challenged banks, held communities as well as industries accountable as students, because as students we could.
Yeah.
Everyone understood that we could.
That's right.
I would argue, Jim, and you could probably argue it better than most, that there are consequences, real consequences under this administration for the administrations themselves on college campuses that allow these kinds of human rights protests to take place on a college campus today. We've seen it in Harvard. We've seen it with the dismissal of those three presidents at the university. Jim, that too is hovering over progressive movements on campuses today.
Look, when you talk about the anti-apartheid marches, think about the leadership that sort of inspired it, that moved it forward. It included members of Congress. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be disparaging right now. Look at the members of the Black Caucus today and compare it to the members of the Black Caucus then, where they came from.
John Conyers, where are these? These guys were serious, man.
They were.
That's right.
And they came out of a movement, right? And I'm sorry, these guys today, there's a sense of like your father used to say, I got the job. And don't shake things up here. There is a problem there. It comes back to an absence of leadership with a vision. Leadership's one thing. Vision, something else. If you don't have a vision and you don't have the tactics to accomplish the vision, then it's just a lot of air and a lot of nice ideas. But when they took the lead in starting that anti-apartheid movement and it spread, they were there to back it up. When the anti-genocide encampment started and the Republicans in Congress intimidated universities, intimidated administrations around the country to crack down on these kids and arrest, 3,300 of them? Where were the Democrats in Congress? Where were those who said, free speech, these are students, they have a right to do this? There was nothing there. And so, kids stopped doing it because the price was too high. They got doxxed, they got arrested, they got, some were deported, and the movement dissipated. Johnny, Gaza's still there. I mean, I think about these 8-year-old kids in Gaza growing up. Where are they going to be 10 years from now? I don't even want to think about it. I look at them playing, and you see pictures of them playing, and they got the sparkle in their eyes and the smiles, and they're doing what kids do, which is making games out of what they've got. But that sparkle's going to fade, and it's going to give way to something else. And nobody's thinking about that. And when you raise it, you're like anti-Semite. No, just caring about what the consequences are of ignoring realities today. That's I think that's the problem we got here. Oh, they got my books up there. Buy them.
Yeah, every one of them. The Tumultuous Decade. Arab. Tell me about that book right quick, Johnny. I mean, Jim, I'm looking at the
Tumultuous Decade. It's
Yes.
the 90s. I'm sorry, it's the 2010 to 2020. It's the polling that we did showing the trajectory of opinion in the Arab world from the time of the end of the Iraq War to to 1920, and it was a devastating period in terms of the consequences of the mistakes we made, culminating in Trump's withdrawal from everything, undoing all that had been done, some of which was real good, and the impact it had on the Arab world was of consequences. I mean, I think you go back to actually 2000. 9/11 happened, but the way we responded to 9/11 ushered in a lot of what we're dealing with right now. We destroyed Iraq, empowered and emboldened Iran, and we're still living with the consequences of it. And nobody wants to take ownership for the mistakes we made, and nobody on the Democratic side has the courage to come forward and say, we blew it. And here's what's happening. Here's why we went into Iraq. Here's why we went into Iran. Here's why we've ignored Palestinian rights. And so, there's an absence of leadership and vision. Arab Lobby is not my book, but Arab Voices is, I think, my favorite.
Jim, we'll come right back to it in just a second. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. More on KBLA when we come forward.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Listen up, KBLA delegation. We have something you need to hear. Right now, you may qualify for low-cost home internet. We're not talking about a catch. This is real. Many internet service providers offer low-cost internet plans if anyone in your household is enrolled in CalFresh, Medi-Cal, SSI, or is income eligible. There are a lot of families in our community who deserve to be connected. Here's all you do. Call 844-461-7893. That's the Get Connected call center. Real people ready to help you enroll today. Or go online to internetforallnow.org to find a provider near you. You may also qualify for a low-cost computer through Human IT. Connectivity is not a luxury. In 2026, it's a necessity. And you deserve access just like everybody else. Call 844-461-7893. That's 844-461-7893. KBLA's got you. If you missed any of this, you can always go to our website at KBLA1580.com. Brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 in partnership with the California Emerging Technology Fund, CETF.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-729-7070. That's 1-800-729-7070. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. That's 1-800-729-7070. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, Black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is connecting you with services and solutions. Domestic violence and family violence is when someone in an intimate or family relationship tries to gain or maintain power and control over another through a wide range of abusive behaviors. Every single act may amount to abuse. Abuse can take on various forms: psychological and emotional, physical and economic, and sexual abuse. The Genesee Center Incorporated is a nationally recognized nonprofit domestic violence prevention and intervention organization, housing women and children from 30 days up to 2 years through emergency and transitional shelters. The Genesee Center also provides support services like mental health counseling, life skills classes, computer training, job referrals, after-school programs for children, field trips, tutoring, and comprehensive direct legal services. If you need help or you'd like to donate or volunteer, call the Genesee Hotline, 1-800-479-7328. That's 1-800-479-7328, or visit genesee.org. Everyone has the right to be safe. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Attention, have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-324-3030. That's 800-324-3030. Again, that's 800-324-3030.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson.
Listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. We've had an amazing hour with Dr. Johnny Mack in the World House and our very special guest, Dr. James Ogby. And before I ask both of them a final question, which should probably take us right to the top of the hour, Johnny, how can we support your work?
Our website is 4 simple words: theworldhouseproject.org. There you can learn about our program, and you can make a donation that's tax deductible. Thank you.
Thank you, Johnny. Dr. Ogby, how can we support your work, including but not limited to that at least 7 books on Amazon.com? Dr. Ogby, how can we support your work?
Yeah, write to me at jzogby@aai.org. And if you want, you can buy Arab Voices, which, like I said, was my favorite book. a lot of stories about the Arab world. I take the myths that Americans have about Arabs and debunk them using actual polling data and examples I've known. Arab attitude towards women, Arab attitude towards each other. At the end of the day, they come out just like everybody else, no different. The myths that we have, I think, shape our attitude. We've fought more wars, lost more lives, spent more money, sent more weapons to that part of the world, and we don't know anything about it at all. And yet we continue to blunder our way through it like blind men in a room, bumping into furniture and cursing the furniture instead of recognizing we make the mistakes. Palestinians, the Invisible Voices that I wrote, is another one. I traced the history in like just 70 pages. I wrote the book in 1978. Somebody saw it a group Mondo Weiss saw it about 10 years ago and said, this book still applies today. So we just reissued it as is. But yeah, write to me at jzogbyaaIusa.org. And I'd be more than happy to add you to our list and get my weekly column and join me for a chat every Wednesday that I do. We got a lot to talk about. Iran, Israel, everything. It just keeps growing.
Looking forward to ordering your books on Amazon.com. We always ask our guests to lead us with a word of hope. And just before we get to Dr. Zogby's word of hope, let me begin with Johnny Mack and his word of hope. Johnny, where do we go from here? Chaos or community?
Jesse, community. As King said, if we don't move towards community, paraphrasing now, we're going to perish as fools. So the choice is very simple. We've got to move toward chaos. We've got to move toward community. And that is my hope, Jesse, that we will all embrace this wonderful idea of Kings, that we are interconnected.
Dr. Zogby, we have 3 minutes before the final, the end of our show. Dr. Zogby, your word of hope to the nation.
The children shall lead them. They are leading us. The vision, my brother wrote a book in 2008 called The Transformation of the American Dream. And it's about the age cohort that at that time was 18 to 24, but it hasn't changed. It now has gone up to 40. And they have a view of the world fundamentally different than our generation, my generation. They see it, they understand it, they have compassion toward it in much greater numbers than ever before. That doesn't go away. They are driving the engine right now on the Democratic side, cannot be ignored. And I have hope that their sense of a global vision will transcend
KBLA 1580.
Snuff out the view of elders that is more divisive and less compassionate.
I really wish there were a process that were more natural in terms of the transition of leadership from between generations. And I know this is an appeal that John F. Kennedy made when he spoke of a new generation that was coming forward to challenge the great challenges confronting their day. In our own community, the end of Second Reconstruction, quite possibly the beginning of a Jim Crow, a new Jim Crow, a Jim Crow 2.0, before a third Reconstruction could come and can come into existence, there are going to be these challenges as to whether or not the existing leadership sees themselves as mentors and as tutors and helping bring forward a generation that has the potential longevity to expand the American experiment. As my father, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, would have said, largely pushed by the great Dr. James Zogby to keep hope alive. Jim, you know what? It occurs to me, you were very much a part of helping write those speeches in 1984 and 1988, certainly on the foreign policy part, but you were there for all of the dramatic conclusions as well, including I Will Never Surrender and Keep Hope Alive. And in
I think Frank Watkins gets most of that credit. He was a brilliant architect. He heard your dad's voice in his head. I did write a couple, added a few lines here and there. And I think the point was that we didn't write him as much as we heard him in our head. And it was easy to transcribe what we were hearing because it was him. And then after he'd do it, I remember he gave one on Cuba. We didn't get to talk about that today. And I remember we were all looking at each other saying, who wrote that? You know, and it was like, he'd take the speech and then I'd call it Jesse-ize it, you know? And it was great. But by the time he did it, it was like brilliant.
Jim, I appreciate you so much for being on our show. Dr. Mack, it's always a pleasure. Love you guys so much. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You've been listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. We'll see everybody next Monday, same time.